G'day guys, Gavin from the Cartoon Company in New Zealand. Today I'm going to look at the differences between a non-Vvt-I Cambelt kit and a Vvt-I Cambelt kit. And the answer might surprise you because they're the same. Different, but the same. They can be interchanged, which is pretty cool that Toyota did that. But I'm going to have to prove it because people are going to think that I'm kind of crazy suggesting this. So let's go have a look and we'll turn it around. Stick this camera on my head and we'll have a look at a few different parts. In front of me I have the two different water pumps. Get that out of the way. So this is a non-VVT-I water pump. If you look in here, these are open and these are open through here. Just grab some verniers. Fin design, plastic, lots of fins. Now in this box I have the Vvt-I Cambelt. In the box they come with the extra seals that go to the heater hose and for the back of the housing, the bypass housing that the thermostat sits into. And there'll also be in here, of course, the water pump, a gasket. We're noticing a difference here, and a bag of bolts. This one doesn't come with the extra seals, and the Vvt-I water pump has the gasket. But if we actually look at them, we turn them over here, we'll get rid of the boxes. Some suggest that the water pump design, the fin design is different on the newer ones. All the replacement ones have gone to the same impellers. So there's no difference there. The difference is in whether one runs a gasket or not. The non-VVT-I has the grooves to allow the silicon, the sealant, to form in place sealant to go in and set. And this one has a flat surface for a gasket. You'll also notice here these holes are filled up and these holes here are filled up. That makes no difference. If you look on the engine, look over here on an engine. Here's one I prepared earlier. It's going to make no difference up in here whether these are filled or not, and the same on this side. No difference at all. And some might say, hey, well, the gasket will make it thicker or thinner. Well, if we measure it up, if we turn my verniers on, around about 54 millimeters there. Excuse me. And around about 54 millimeters there. So the thickness of the water pump, provided you include the gasket, is the same. So one trick is you use the Vvt-I water pump on the early ones and you get the extra bolts and the extra seals. Hey, it might not be a big saving, but it is a saving. So water pumps, the same but different. Next we'll look at the tensioner. Hydraulic tensioner. The new design is a aluminium body. Now if we look over on this motor here, this one's got a cast iron one, and this one's had a service at some point and it's got an aluminium one on it. The tensioner is the same part number for both engines, and the later model design is the alloy one. So if you're taking off a cast iron one, don't worry, the aluminium one is the correct one. Idler. The smooth idler with no bracket on it is the same part number for both Vvt-I and non-Vvt-I engines. Onto the tensioner bearing assembly. So if we look at them, They both look exactly the same. Turn them over, they look the same. But if you really look closely, and guys are normally pretty good at spotting little titties, here we go. The titties are different sizes down under here, that little bit there. So the early one has a big one, and the later one has a small one. But what does that do? Again, looking at the engine that I've got in pieces here. Here is the piece up in here. And it's just sitting in the breeze. It's a little hard to see. I might get some light. So there you go. So once it's all assembled, it actually does nothing at all. However, when you're assembling it, the smaller one allows the assembly to move back further, which makes it easier to put the cam belt on. So in the newer one, they've allowed the unit to move back much further, making it easier to put the cam belt on. When you think about that, this one's easier to work with. The later model one is actually easier than the early one. Both interchange. So that is a good option to make it easier to fit up your cam belt. The next bit to look at is the actual cam belt. Now I've already taken these out of the bag. They are different part numbers listed. So this is a non Vvti cam belt, and this is a Vvti cam belt. I've got a few peripherals too, which I might talk about, if I can just find them in a moment. They'll be on my chair. Distributor caps, which I often do during a cam belt. Not strictly a cam belt part. They might be different between the Vvti and the non Vvti, because the Vvti don't run a distributor cap. And ignition rotors, got some of those. Yeah, none of them on a Vvti either. So there's some differences there. Seals. Cam seals. Definitely different between the Vvti and the non Vvti. Easy to put in on a non Vvti. On the later model ones, they're a bit of a mission. You've got to take the cams out. Maybe I'll do a video on that another day, but that's like a whole video in itself. And for some reason, I've only got one cam seal. Crank seals. One part number, fit all of them. Now this is where some people get caught out in the aftermarket ones, because aftermarkets, they do have some different measurements, and they're like 0.5 millimeter difference in the center diameter in the ID, and it's just the difference with aftermarket seals. I pretty much always run genuine seals, and I buy them in bags of 10. I might do a few of these engines. In the thermostat department, which I often put in when I'm doing a cam belt. Now these are different. As you can see, one of them is a lot bigger. That's the Vvti. The non Vvti is a much smaller unit. Wish I'd remember which one that's that way. So there you have some differences between the Vvti and the non Vvti cam belts. The blocks are pretty much the same between them. There are some casting differences, and I've just done a little bit of a video on a few of the differences between the engines. Pulleys, bearings, all interchange. So I really hope that's been helpful. If you want to see a video on doing a cam belt on one, so I will put up a video on the full process of that. I stripped that one down last night, and today I'll clean it, put it back together. And I may even end up doing the cam belt video for the Series 1 as well, even though they're pretty much the same. If you enjoyed this video, push the like button. And if you're into doing more 1UZ stuff, subscribe to my channel, and we'll keep this information coming along. And we'll talk to you later.